What a lovely morning it is this morning. And look at Swallow, she's desperate to go. She can see the little gentle breeze coming in and thinks I'm having a bit of that. So we get ready to cast off, and we're only going for a really short sail. Hopefully we're going to get a sail anyway. We should be going 10 miles down to Milford Haven. So from where we are now at Nayland, we're going to an anchorage called the Dale. The Dale is quite a pretty anchorage down at the end of the Milford Haven, and is sort of the last stop before you're out at sea. Today we've got the lucky thing of wind on the nose all the way there, but because we've only got 10 miles to go and the tide is coming in now, we've got wind and tides against us for the 10 miles. But that just sounds like fun, because obviously we want to see how Swallow's doing with attacking these days. Because of the little alteration we made in the winter, we're hoping that it'll be much better than it ever has been before, because everything else seems to be that little bit better as well. Well, all the springs are off, and I'm just tidying up this bow line now, dump that on the deck, and then I've got the stern line which is on one loop on the side, so I'm sort of holding it with my hand there on the guard wire. The bow's now free, getting the stern line on, and then get me on and we can go. All aboard. So this is the sort of plan that we've got today. We're going to start off just here in Nayland, where we are at the moment, just departing our berth, and we've got to make our way down this little section here, and then along the second section which runs along here, where there's always a ferry hanging about to get in your way at some point. Then we've got to go here where there's some oily terminal bits where the boats stop, and then this big area here is where most of the boats stop, the ships stop, and they tie up to these big floaty pontoony things that stick out from the sides. And then when you got past them along here, you clear all the way down to the Dale, which is just here where we plan to be tonight. And like I say, it's not a massive distance, and we've got most of the day to do it. In fact, it's only 10 miles. So I'm figuring if wind over tide, I should be pushing along. If I'm making 2.5 knots sort of over the ground, 2 knots over the ground, it would take me 5 hours. So let's see how we get on. And we motor out the marina, and the first thing I see ahead of me is a ship loading up. Well, it's not actually loading up. It's offloading at the moment. So that makes me think, well, I've got quite a bit of time to get past him. As you can see, I'm not flying along. So I'm just going to get up to a level more or less with him and get my sails out and get going. That Challenge Wales boats, that's on the dock for the sailing club, Nayland Sailing Club there. I've seen it in a few places at the moment. But there's boats coming back in which are doing the easy sail, which is sailing downwind while we're sailing. The hard sail, which is upwind. Now, not in a rush. I haven't put much canvas up. I just balanced the boat out, and I'm going to let it go balanced and see how it goes like this. She's sitting more or less upright in between 5 and 10 degrees of heel. We haven't got fantastic amounts of wind, about 14 knots I should imagine, and the rest's boat speed, and we're making an amazing 3.6 over the ground into the current and into the wind. Well, I think that's quite good myself. This flat water helps a hell of a lot though. I was trying to catch this bloke up, but he's decided to turn round and go the other way. I've never tried to catch anybody up yet, but I think I was actually grabbing a little bit of ground on this crabber 30. But I won't swear to it, because I never caught him. But I was trying, or at least that's what Lisa always says to me. Swallow having a little bit of weight to her, carries herself absolutely beautiful through a tack. I mean, you still got to tack properly, obviously, and you still got to sheet back in, but she doesn't normally ever stall in a tack or fail the tack, and she's normally fairly good to get back online again, although I overshot that a little bit. But then it's okay if you overshoot a little bit. This green's been plaguing me for ages. I didn't know whether I was going to get past it on the inside or the outside with the current and the wind, but I've managed to cut a little bit off it, so that makes me very happy. And now I'm going to come out from behind all these, I don't know what you call them, big boat moorings into stacks or something, and out into the middle where all the boats are, and there's somebody coming the other way and there's somebody else coming the other way, and I knew he'd come and get me at some point, and there he goes. So I just stayed out of his way. I did a shallow tack to stay out of his way because I was very considerate, but other people weren't so considerate and he was squeezed to the side. Well, I find it hard to believe just how enjoyable it's been tacking down here, with quite a reefed sail plan, but still going fairly well, surprisingly well for myself. I had seen at some points over 4 knots, and that's still into current, so that wasn't bad at all. And we haven't had stacks and stacks of wind. We've had an average of about 14, 16 knots, that's all. I think these things coming up on me starboard side, well, I think when I've cleared these, I think that's the last of these big shipping moorings that are available along the way for me to have to avoid, and then after that it's sort of plain sailing to the Dale. I think this bit's called Stacks Rock, this little bit of a fort. I think it's a fort anyway, and I seen him coming out of Nayland before I left earlier on, so he's had a sail down the Dale and now he's on his way back, and I think that's a Parker. Well, that's our crack and sail over. Just motor up to pick a mooring up or drop the anchor in the Dale here, and we've had a smashing sail. Well, this was our track on the way down, and you can see we put quite a few tacks in, but if you look at the angles on them tacks, they're pretty damn fair for any boat going into tide and wind. And that's the little bit I had to do there to avoid the ship. This is where about the ship was. Once in the Dale, it was somebody's playground. There was lots of people having little sails round, especially in smaller boats. And those big boats that had obviously been on big passages and were at the end of their day and they needed a break. The Dale's mostly an anchorage, but it does have this lovely big long pontoon in the middle of it for any club boats that are turning up together to all have a bit of camaraderie on. There is a shore down there, a jetty for dinghies, and there's a pub and eating places, and I'll tell you more about the Dale in a bit there. But the moorings itself, there's plenty of space to drop your hook, and there's a couple of visitors moorings as well if you're but one of the lucky people to get them. They do request a donation of £10 a night if you've got the money to give though. As it was, club boats did come in, a group of them come in from, I think it was Ireland, and they all jumped on it, and that's exactly what this thing's for. And they can all talk about the day and have a laugh about it and unwind together. Though the pontoon and the moorings appear free, they actually need looking after, and it's a company called Seagrass that look after them. So help them, keep them so that we can use them when they get on them by making your donation. Well, we had a lovely night at anchor, and the next morning it was beautiful. We were going to depart, but we decided to go ashore instead. And when we went ashore, we had a good look round, and it's the most beautiful, picturesque little village to spend some time in that you can imagine. There's a nice cafe. In the back of the cafe is a little store. The little store does things like bread, milk, beans, just the basics really. I suppose it's like a camping shop. There's public toilets, so you can get something to eat, drink, and relieve yourself. There's a very nice restaurant, and further down you've got a very nice pub which serves food as well, and a little bit further down that you've got a cafe. And this is the jetty they put on for your dinghies, although that I've seen every now and then some boats stop on it. And there's a yacht club to go and visit as well. And there's a road here which will take you all the way to the lighthouse, but we never walked the lighthouse. We took the one-way road which you walk round town. Keep walking on the road, and you'll come to a little junction which turns to the left, and it's hopefully going to take you to this drop in the valley here. The path starts along this wall here, so walk around the road until you get to the wall and then follow the wall, and it'll bring you out here. And this beach is called Westdale Beach. You'll probably be the only ones there. There's sometimes a couple of people, but not many. The beach is a bit rocky, but it has got nice sand on it, and you can actually spend the day there. If you like to get away from the madding crowds, it's definitely one of them places, and I more or less had it to myself. There's a lot of red rocks round here, and I don't know why. And there you go. clapped out on the beach waiting for the sun to burn me to a crisp. And believe it or not, I'm not actually that far from the Dale, because I'm at West Dale, and here's the camera, zoom into the Dale, which is about half a mile away. So it's not far at all. So it's an easy walk for anyone, because I'm not the biggest walker in the world, and I made it with a sore leg. It's a Monday today, and there seems to be a lot of life at the Dale, people playing around in dinghies and small boats, having a lot of fun. And that, my friends, is the Dale in a nutshell. An excellent place to stay, an excellent place to come and anchor. It's 24-hour tides in here, and there's always space. It's an ideal place to take a couple of days and just chill. So from the Dale till next time, bon voyage.